Devo spostulite rurana con poresti audita. Caien vide nove, silentigas duonon della mondo. Filino, fratino, i cani ai patrino, i defendente demona in ago indeni frato. I laki alo, chianine nia pova su nuigi. Esta si magita povo kaiji. Sen fina serciado. Fantomo kun vera corpo, movado kun vera celo. Voccio pelata de colero, tiui vorto estas la frapo, kiu mi rigas vin, tiu mesaggio mi esperas revenigas la equilibro.
Welcome, everybody. I know we've had a weird broadcast schedule, but happy New Year's Eve. I'm your host, Roman Wukong, and welcome to the final martini of 2025. It has been a long and arduous year. We are at the end of it, quite literally. It's been wild. Let's talk about it. As many of you know, earlier this year, I was able to step in and rescue the project from being wiped completely off the face of the earth, for better or for worse. I was able to reestablish the network backbone of seed nodes and some master nodes to get us started. Because the former owner wasn't really good at explaining what he was doing, maybe that was by design, maybe he was a scammer, maybe he was just bad at all of this, who knows? The point is that the old guard is dead and I took over. In part of that, I decided to institute a new transparency model. Forgive me, it is cold as shit, so I am drinking hot coffee and hot tea. No alcohol today. It is New Year's Eve. It's a drinking holiday, so I don't drink until I go home. Anyway, we instituted a new transparency model that included things like dev wallet tracking, which you can do on our website, Bitoreum.cc, under the accounting tab or transparency tab. I forget what it's called. We try to do press releases, particularly at the end of the month and definitely at the end of the quarter. So look for that one that is coming at the end of this quarter because it's kind of a wrap up of everything that happened in this last quarter because we really weren't able to do a month by month because of timing. Community input on community movement, meaning that where we intend to go. I've had a lot of input about adding other exchanges, and we'll get into more on that a little bit towards the end, and why that's kind of been happening. And establishment of new social media accounts that we do actively stay maintaining. Discord is probably where we are most active. I hate Twitter, but I do post over there. I've stopped posting on Blue Sky, mostly because it's just Mark Hamill responding to my stuff, and while that's cool and funny, haven't really gotten anywhere. It's still an account, I still monitor it, but it's just not nearly as popular as I would like and hope, and Threads has just become a shithole, so good luck with that. We've moved on from the legacy 3.0.2 Transylvania core to the new 4.1.0.0 Portland release core. There were hiccups along the way, of course. The unfortunate 4.0.1.0 release, which effectively bricked the network, had to do with headers and competing dev payment forks. Caused all kinds of nasty collisions, so we had to stall the network. And of course, these things kind of happen when you fork networks like that. I didn't really want to hard fork the network. I kind of wanted to softball it in. And the ultimate reality is yeah, that's not going to happen, particularly because the code was so badly mismatched together. And that's what I will be working on a lot next year is sorting out the code, cleaning it up, and making it easy to go forward in a lot of ways. That said, most of the major pools that we had pre-fork followed with us past or post-fork, with the, of course, exception of Zerg Pool, who retired early this year to be more with his family and to get his wife off his ass. Shout out, you will be missed, my friend. You take good care out there. A huge loss of non-KYC exchanges lost us our CoinGecko listing, but they have been very willing to work with us once we land back on an exchange that they work with, and we've been waiting for the dust to settle for the end of the year reconciliation to see where we're going to land on that, mostly because most of those exchanges want anywhere between $2,000 and $5,000 upfront. It's a big chunk of change for a project that's effectively been dead for a while. I may attempt a next X listing. I haven't made up my mind yet fully on this one, as it's an extremely new exchange, and I would rather avoid another execs and trade ogre situation if at all possible. They kind of went by fly by night. Trade Ogre, of course, was seized by the Royal Canadian Mounties. They allege that the owner was dead. is dead. I don't know, and that is a tricky situation that we've been following closely. Although the news is effectively stopped on that, so we may never get a full resolution on what happened there. I do have one minor and one major update plan for next year. We'll see how that goes. And following along, you can follow along with us on our roadmap over at our website, Bitoreum.cc. Bitoreum.org was bought by some Chinese company who's using it mostly to distribute malware and shit adware games, so don't use it. Don't click on it. If you see something that says Bitoreum.org, use it in an isolated browser, and if you want to see what's going on over there. But yeah, we've been trying to clean up those links, and not happening. It's an easier said than done kind of thing. I am developing S-Mart.cc, an entirely cryptocurrency online retailer store that should be live no later than Q2, originally for the United States only, mostly because of tariffs and international shipping just being absolute shite right now. And finally, we've just launched our new BTRM Banker, a fully custom Bitoreum tip bot and banker bot for our Discord channel. This will be how we will be giving away 16 million Bitoreum later today. That's right, 16 million Bitoreum is up for grabs in the Discord as we ring in the new year. So let's actually go over that. Let me bring this up here. Let me switch over and see if we can get that going. Uh-oh. Did we go away? Ah, there it is. Okay. So this is my tester account, and this is a channel that you wouldn't normally have access to, but this is live. So what you would do is with your account, and you would do this at the rack at the A crop, right? That's where you would normally do all of this. If you don't have an account yet, and you are on our Discord, you just type, oh God, I can't remember. That's on an apostrophe. Exclamation point. Jesus, I can't think today. And register. It's how we key in commands, right? So it'll tell you that it has sent information privately, and in here it'll say you're registered, your deposit address, and it will tell you how deposits work. They are credited after 6 confirmations, and you can have a credited minimum deposit of 1 BTRM, meaning that if you don't send at least 1 BTRM, it won't credit you, and that has to do with the fact that if the core can't establish a withdrawal fee, we reserve 1 BTRM to make sure that it'll cover any transaction fee that takes place. It normally never takes 1 full BTRM, but it's just as a reserve thing to prevent dust, more or less. So going back over here, one of the things that I can do is, okay, I'm going to attempt to send myself some of that, so bear with me here. My computer is being an absolute git this morning. I worked a lot on this bot. I have tested it. This is completely custom. No code for this ever has existed anywhere. Used all 100% code, and this was mostly as a privacy and security issue. I've looked at a lot of tip bots, and not a lot of them worked exactly the way that I wanted. You know, some got it down to like 99.999% because effectively we are a Bitoreum wallet clone. But there are some fundamental differences that make ours just a little bit problematic. So if I go over here and swap this, if we get a new display capture, okay. Oh, actually, let's just do it this way. Okay. So as you see over here, this is the wallet that I've sent myself 500 to. Once that goes to one confirmation, the bot will recognize and it will tell you about it, but it won't credit you until 6 confirmations. Obviously, it seems like the network is working a little bit slow today. Oh, you weren't showing it because there we go. Sorry, didn't realize that that wasn't showing. My bad. So this is what I was talking about. So I sent myself, what was it, 500,000 Bitoreum to the tester account. We're just waiting for it to get one conf. And so while we wait for that, let me go over. Let's hide that one. Go back to here. Boom and boom. Okay, while we wait for one confirmation so I can show you what that looks like. There were a couple of Q&As that we have been asked over this last month, mostly from Twitter. We've gotten a couple of new followers over there, and they've been extremely interested. I think they are crypto bros, so if you're taking a gander over at our video today, thank you very much. I'm not really awake. So the first one is, wasn't this project a rug pull? The short answer to that is no. The original owner of this project most likely abandoned this project or met an untimely demise. That one is purely speculation. But the point is that the original owner is no longer involved in the project and hasn't been since March or May of 2023. So it's been a couple of years. He effectively just stepped away. The reason I don't think this was ever a rug pull is if it was, you would have seen massive dumping on exchanges back then with the token in value. And was there some trading of it? Yeah. Did people try to dump? Yeah, but it wasn't until like years after that. Normally a rug pull would have happened at the same time that he disappeared, and I just didn't really see it. Exchanges didn't really see it either. So I don't think this was really a rug pull, and I definitely don't intend it to be a rug pull. This is more of a reclamation project trying to keep the project alive and moving it forward into the new year and try to restore it back to maybe not exactly where it was at the height of it because we're in a downturn on the crypto markets, but try to get back up there. Maybe get other YouTubers talking about it. Maybe get Panda Mining, Red Mining talking about it again. He used to be a big Bitorium worker, but he loves CPU based coins. So I think that's really what it was. And there weren't that many of them. I think you have what, Monaro, Raptorium, Bitorium, and Yerbus. Those are like the top that I can think of. And there's probably many, many more. Those are just the ones that I deal with kind of on a daily basis. So the idea is hopefully, jump a bit more information over there. But as long as I'm here, I don't intend to ever actually rug pull. And to be quite honest, I don't really care much about the exchanges or the mining, other than yes, we need miners to mine the coin to keep the network stable. But I gave up mining about a year and a half ago as I sold most of my mining equipment and got into software, more of the software side of it. Next question. This one actually was from Twitter, but I think it's more about the YouTube channel because I think they watch a lot of my shorts and found us that way, which is kind of fun. What's with all the board game shit on your YouTube channel? Um, my family originally comes from Chicago, and they were children in the 30s and 40s and 50s. And board games were huge, like board game and board game culture. And there were a lot of them. I think there were 8, 9 kids, something like that. So obviously, family style board games were a big hit with them. And my mom wound up when she moved from Chicago, came out here. She kept a lot of those board games, and I played some of them when I was growing up. But I don't have that many brothers and sisters. She didn't have that many children. I think there was just two of us. Like in total, I'm the last of 9, but most of those are on my dad's side, not my mom's side. So my mom only had like 2 kids, so we could play some board games, and then like other family members would come over. But the reality is, the vast majority of her board games sat out in storage. The storage unit a couple of years ago developed a leak in the roof of that container, and did massive water damage. And it didn't help any that ants in one year also got in. So a lot of these board games are covered in ant poop, water damage, And I thought it would be kind of fun and neat to apply some techniques that I've kind of learned about in art conservation from watching Baumgartner restorations. And I wanted to try out some of those techniques to see what the hell he was talking about and see if they actually worked. And surprisingly enough, they have. And then all of a sudden, the channel started getting like massive amounts of views from some of those videos. I think one of those videos got like not a whole bunch of likes. I mean, yeah, it was like a couple hundred likes, but like it was like almost a million views or something like that, which was just for a channel as small as ours, like that's insane. Like I think we only have like 13 or 14 followers on the YouTube channel. Thank you, by the way, for those 13 of you out there watching this. I know a lot of people watch that aren't followers. That is mostly driven by our Discord channel. Shout out to you guys over there. But basically, all the board game stuff was I just thought it would be kind of fun to create these little shorts on the techniques that I'm using, and they've gotten kind of popular. So I will continue on with that because I have tons of those board games, and a lot of these were original. So the three that you've seen a lot of are the original release of Risk in 1958, 1959. The modified one in 1963, which would be the next version. That one received the most damage and probably will never be for sale just because there's so much restoration that needed to be done to it and so much damage to the box that the reality is you can get a much better condition of that one for like $40 or less, and sometimes even including free shipping. It just really depends. The 1959 version probably will wind up going on sale. That actually did wind up going into a really, really good condition. And then, of course, the one from 1992, 1993, which is the one that I grew up with, that one also will unlikely be for sale. A couple of reasons. It's much, much newer. It's not really worth that much. It's definitely not vintage. I think it's just retro, because I think that's what the 90s is. Plus, I like that one the best. It has the most pieces. It had some variations on that game that made it really, really fun to play. And I do have a couple of old boys that, since we were, God, that has to have been middle school when we were playing that game. We still get together maybe once a year, once every two or three times a year, something like that, and get drunk as shit and go back to playing Risk. And, fist fights ensue and all that fun shit. The 58 version, though, the point of this is that after the restorations are fully done, will probably be for sale. And that was the idea, is to kind of film them along the way, and those that can be salvaged and sold will be salvaged and sold, per the request of my family. They're like, if they can be sold and other people use them, great. Let's get that done, because we just don't do board games any much. They've gotten quite older, and they just don't have the same interest they did when they were kids, obviously. But that was the real reason with all the board game stuff, because it really has nothing to do with cryptocurrency, except that those will probably be featured on our cryptocurrency retailer store, s-mart.cc, which right now ties into our eBay store. All right, next question. What exchanges are you guys on? XBitRum. We used to be on more, but that has faltered out with the fall of the exchanges. There was a lot of non KYC exchanges that just went tits up. I'm going to go back to this screen. It's still not done. There were a lot of them that went tits up, so we've had some issues. I mean, like I said, we lost our CoinGecko listing because I didn't realize CoinGecko was using FineXbox, Trade Ogre, and there was another one that we were listed on that I didn't really know too much about, because that was they picked us up after Marius disappeared, so I wasn't really familiar with them. But yeah, we lost 3 exchanges that tied into CoinGecko, so effectively CoinGecko dropped us as listing over there, which is unfortunate because it gave our project a lot of validity. I really liked it, but I have contacted them. I reached out to them and contacted them, and I've talked to them, and they said, hey, we have no problem relisting your project. We actually like yours a little bit better because you are fully on board with like above board documentation, which is what I just think that most people want. A lot of these smaller projects, they act like they're shady, and sometimes they are. Sometimes a lot of these smaller projects are absolutely shady, and sometimes they're just really not. We're not shady in the sense, like, I don't have any ulterior motives. My whole point was just to, I knew a lot of the people in the original Bitoreum community personally, and it sucked to see them, bag hold, like have a whole bunch of their stuff, invest your time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears, and then just one day it's gone. Not necessarily in value, but like the whole community around it. And I really wanted to try to save the community. I really wanted to try to save the code. In hindsight, what I probably should have done is done a one-for-one swap with a brand new coin. This code was extremely buggy. It was ripped from an early version of Raptorium code to the point that it even reused some of their assets at one point before I finally stripped all that out in one of the 4X versions, because I wasn't even aware of it until somebody from the Raptorium community was kind of like, hey, dude, if you really want to get on their better side, how about you just remove all the assets that Marius never did? I didn't even know they were in there, to be perfectly honest, and they kind of showed me in the code, which was really, really helpful. And shout out, he wanted to stay anonymous, so shout out to him. Thank you so much for that. And that's what I mean about community. I want the community to get back involved with the project, and that's what we're here today for. So, yeah. Later tonight, I'm going to be getting drunk as New Year's Eve does, because I will be home. I will not be driving. I didn't even want to come to the office today, but I had to do this video. I had to get packages because I still have a business to maintain. And apparently the network's being really, really slow. It's the problem of GR coins. Oh, there we go. We finally got our first confirmation. So let me go bring that up, and I can actually show you how the bot works. I should have done this beforehand. Give me 1 second. Okay. So we've had one confirmation. So if we do balance or B, he should have sent me. There we go. Bot must be moving a little bit slow. Okay, so what you will see here is you will see a pending balance of 500,000 Bitoreum, and it says 1 of 6 comps until spendable, meaning that I can't spend any of this money. That said, however, I go over here, and then I launch the other one, the one that controls everything. Okay. Tip at KV tester. Okay. So it'll say that I've tipped that one particular user, and now we can see the balance. See, the bot's moving faster now. And what it'll show you is because, oh, we have 2 comps now. Yay! We still have that 500,000 in pending, but we do have now a spendable balance of 1,000. And that's the basic core of it. It's a pretty simple bot in terms of like what it can do. There's a lot that it can do on the back end, and I'm not going to show you that because that is admin stuff, and the whole point of doing this private code closed source was so that was very hard to sniff out and backtrace. But what I can show you, if we do right, so if we can audit that one, it'll kind of show us some of the things that we know. So it does have an active address, meaning that it is an active account. The current DB balance, which is the spendable, is 1,000 pending, and how many comps are left over is 500,000. It's not a suspended account because yes, I can suspend accounts. And then it'll tell you the kind of wallet address information that is relative to the wallet that's controlling, or the bot reads for controlling assets. So it's a pretty nifty little thing that we've done. It's open to any Discord user that is part of our server. Boom. There we go. But it will allow you to, check your balances, send Bitoreum to and from your friends as long as you're in. You're only going to have access to the rack if you're in our server. You're only going to be able to go here. You're not going to be able to see things in the admin channel, which is specifically where I was, just to not have to deal with the chatter. I didn't know who's going to be online and be like, "Oh, you're pinging us 1,000 times a second," because it will ping everybody in that server, particularly because, as you see here, it uses the @KV tester name, so it will ping your user by name, and it can get kind of chatty. A lot of people just tell it shut the fuck up, and I 100% agree. But anyway, this is how we're giving away 16 million Bitoreum today. Because if we go audit, okay, look at that, 16 million Bitoreum are up for grabs today. So go ahead and follow us on our Discord. Link is in the description for this video. You can also find it on our website, bitoreum.cc, see all of our socials, all of that fun stuff there. Until later tonight, if I don't see you until next year, it's been a great year, and I hope to see you all into the next year. Have a great day. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. If you're going to drink at all, please do it at home. Do it in a safe environment and be very careful out there tonight. I love you all. I will see you next year or later tonight, depending on who you are. Have a good one, folks. Bye.